Welcome back, guys. Automotive Inc. So I told you we are going to bring somebody new to the channel to drive one of the trucks for once, but we're going to get some retrospect on what they thought of the heavy duties that we ran on the channel over this last year. And this person is so rare to be caught on camera. It's like finding $1 million coin in your coin jar in your closet, or maybe like even seeing the abominable snowman. It just doesn't happen, okay? So this is a very important video, so make sure you smash the subscribe button and give me a like, because if you like it, we'll have more of it. So, welcome to the channel, my beautiful, adoring wife, the mother of my children, and my biggest fan when it comes to buying cars. No, just kidding. She actually gets kind of annoyed because some of the vehicles she's really loved and I've gotten rid of them. But today she's going to give me some woman's side of things on the HD trucks, the new F-150. Today we're pretty much going to be reviewing the F-150 and her thoughts on it. But we got to think big picture here. When we go out and buy a vehicle, sometimes our significant others need to drive the vehicle, whether they're camping or they're doing errands or something like that, and they need to drive it. So some of the things that she's going to talk about might be important to people when it comes to visibility, especially if they're height challenged or anything like that. So here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, she is here. So let's talk about the F-150 first. This isn't our first F-150 in our family. And what do you think about it? As a vehicle, you usually drive an SUV. You've driven mostly SUVs, but you have cars and stuff like that. And we've had big trucks. But have you enjoyed the F-150s we've owned?
Yes, I have. In fact, I think I drove the last F-150 more than you did. I really do enjoy it. It's comfortable. It's small enough that I can almost park, and I can actually see over the seat, which I really, really like. And actually the user information on the radio and the nav and all that stuff is really easy to navigate.
Now, when you talk about visibility going over the hood, you're saying you like the way you can see over the end of it. It doesn't seem like it's in your way. Visibility out of what this is called the A-pillar, the B-pillar, the side windows, and the back window. You feel like visibility is good?
Oh, yes. I can actually see over it, and the seat can rise up enough so I can see over. Some of the seats in the past have not risen up enough that I felt comfortable even trying to drive it. This one I can see over the hood, the seat's up, and I don't feel like I'm hugging the steering wheel.
Because you can sit back and be comfortable.
Yes.
All right. Now, one thing you've noted in the Chevy and even some of the older Fords, the seats are hard. What did you think of the Ram seats?
They weren't bad. I think they were in between the Ford and the Chevy. The Ram seats weren't not comfortable, but they were not as comfortable as the Ford. The Ford seats kind of have that topped period.
And what'd you think of the Chevy seats?
They're a rock.
They're the rock. All right.
They're the rock.
Yeah.
They were really, really hard, and I didn't really much enjoy driving the Chevy at all.
And I've made note of this before, guys. The seats are the most firm in the Chevy, and I do believe the Ford has the most comfortable seats. But when it comes down to it, it is the Goldilocks three bears, scenario where you got to find the right fit for you. Some people might find soft seats annoying and hard seats annoying, and so on and so forth. Another thing that she talked about was the visibility out of the hood. The Chevy got the tallest hood of the bunch. The Ram's hood is also tall, especially if you get the sport hood. So when you think about people that are shorter, if you're a taller person, that might not be an issue for you. But when you put somebody that is shorter in here or doesn't drive a pickup very often, their comfort level may go down. Now you may be thinking, well, if they get a 360 camera, then that negates that altogether. But sometimes it's a nice middle of the road if you can get the vehicle that you want, if it's your primary driver, and that your significant other or other drivers also feel comfortable enjoying it too, because at the end of the day, if they don't have those cameras, sometimes a comfort level can drop their ability to even drive it safely or feel comfortable driving it safely, and maybe even smushing into stuff. So now we're going to talk about power. In my last F-150, we had a smaller 2.7 EcoBoost. What'd you think of the power in that little pickup?
I like it. It wasn't like, throw me back in the seat type of power, but it was nice. My little 4-cylinder car has got almost no power. So it's really nice to get in here and punch it, which you love when I do that.
Exactly.
It kills your gas mileage, but I love the power.
Although yesterday she did drive it home, which was about a 45-mile trip, and she was able to get on the Powerboost. What do you think of the power in this pickup?
This one has more than the last F-150 we've had. I don't know why. It's because it's hybrid. It's got more power. I don't know. Turbo. I just like things with turbos. So, you know.
Well, and that makes sense. And respectively, guys, even with her driving habits, not watching the hybrid monitor, she still got 25.5 miles to the gallon yesterday, so that's pretty good.
It was stop and go on the highway, so that's not my fault.
I think that's pretty good out of a pickup, guys. I don't know about you. Now, we talked about the power in this pickup. We talked about your drivability. You like the way it drives and everything like that. Let's just touch on the HD trucks that we've had on the channel in the last year. Now, the Ford Super Duty, the General, visibility out of the front end of that, how did you feel that was? Similar to this?
Yeah, very similar. I mean, a lot of the Fords I can see out of. I feel way more comfortable driving the Fords than I do the Chevys or even the Rams. We had a lot of trucks in the past.
Right. And I know that when we took the Ford up to the dealership when the engine had the issue and you had to drive Kong back, you said it had a lot of power.
Yes, it had a lot of power, but I did not feel comfortable. I wanted that trip to end so badly. It was such a bad... I just don't feel comfortable in it. I could barely see over the hood. I mean, when I stand next to the truck, I'm not taller than the truck, hood-wise. So getting in there, the seats don't rise enough for me to feel comfortable, and they're rock hard, and then it's a big, beefy truck. So I didn't feel very comfortable. Now the Ford is spacious, but I wouldn't call it exactly beefy, because I actually feel more comfortable driving this. The Ram is probably my second most. We've had a lot of Rams, even when you had the dually. I felt better driving the dually than I did the Chevy. It just felt too big for me, and I'm a very small human.
So what that means, guys, is when you think about buying your vehicle, your tow vehicle, your pickup, your cars, whatever, if it's going to be a totally shared vehicle, comfort, again, drivability, power, all of these things kind of intertwine as they go into the perfect vehicle for the family. Now, if your significant other has the potential of even towing, that's something you're really going to have to keep in mind, because towing and backing and all of that stuff has a lot of maneuverability. And if the person's sitting in there, and I will say this, to me, I'm a bigger person when it comes to height, so the Chevy did feel cavernous inside. It felt like a big, beefy, roundhouse you in the face kind of truck, and it did. You kind of sat in it, the dash sat tall, and the hood sat even taller, so it was a little bit intimidating, I think, for some people. And even though you can have all the power in the world, if you're not comfortable getting to some place and that person needs to back or maneuver a trailer, that might be a little bit overwhelming, even with cameras, because, again, those are only tools. That doesn't negate your actual skill of driving. So we talked about exterior comfort when it comes to visibility and everything like that. That is a big comfort level for people that are not always in the truck. Let's talk about interior creature comforts compared to the Chevy that we had on the channel, because the 3/4 ton Chevy will be about the same as the half ton. What do you think about Ford overall between the General and this truck and the last F-150? They're very similar to interior storage and everything like that.
I like the way the Ford does it. There's enough room on the floor for my feet. There's lots of little cubby holes. I actually love this one doesn't have it, and I don't remember if the other F-150 did, but the General had it where you had like the double cup holders, but it turned into 4. I thought that was one of the coolest things ever. I don't know why, I just think it's like a really cool use of space, and it's very, very cool way. We are always with our kids, never have enough cup holders, ever. So that part was really nice. I think there's a cool little storage where I usually sit that I can pop open, and then I can just put all my stuff in there, which I really like, because I like having a spot for my stuff.
Right. Now, what she's talking about is the General doesn't have this shifter here, and it does have the 4. I've showed you that, guys. If you're not, go to my General video, and I'll show you my likes and dislikes. having the extra cup holders, they have a little slider divider here, and it is fantastic. If you don't need the divider, you can slide over here and use it as a phone holder and everything. And then the upper glove box here is what she likes.
Yep. So I like that the Ram like had this weird bulge or something in the floor that kind of, when I put my purse down by my feet, it was just kind of in the way. It was fine because I have little feet, but I know when I was driving the Ram that you had issues with it. You weren't comfortable. The Chevy or the Ford never really had that. They had just like a very nice open floor space.
Right.
So I like that.
And then what she's talking about is the Ram has in the crew cab and in the mega cab the bell housing to the engine and transmission right there kind of came into this area, and as a 6'2" person, I had to kind of sit with my legs together like this over here because the dashboard came down and my foot, there was not enough room for me to put my foot on it, and it was just something I really never noticed, guys. And again, for a smaller person that might matter, but our kids are tall, so if they were to sit up front, they would notice it. So I think that is something to really think about. Again, Chevy and Ford do have the biggest crew cabs out there, and that just does play into overall functionality when it comes to storage, when it comes to foot space, leg room, and overall comfort. So yeah, guys, when it comes to everything, usability of interfaces, whether it be the Sync 4, the Uconnect, the Chevrolet Link, whatever the heck they call that thing, cameras, mirrors, seats, and everything like that, we really got to know is what it's like to drive. Well, you guys know I'm a strong supporter of how well the Chevy did towing, whether it's a 3/4 ton or a half ton. I think Chevy does the best, but there are some downfalls to that, meaning that some drivers may not feel all that comfortable visibility wise and comfort wise. So I'm going to ask my wife right now, you know, what truck she thinks it might be the best. So what do you think's the best?
Well, if we're going heavy duty, I personally like the Ford just because I feel more comfortable in it. Even in the passenger seat, like the Chevy, I still feel really short and can barely see over the dash. The Ford, I can always feel super comfortable. The seats are actually comfortable. When we took the Chevy for that 7-hour drive, it was not as comfortable as it could have been. Actually, it was pretty difficult, but that's good. I would prefer the Ford. I would never tow. And in fact, people should really run the other way if they see me trying to tow or back up anything. But in the fact of just riding passenger and being able to drive it around town if I had to, I would always pick the Ford, hands down. I do love the Ram just because we kind of started off with the Ram. We had probably 4 or 5 different Rams in our marriage time. And I do have a nice fondness for that. The Chevy, while it's nice, it's not my favorite. I really know you like the beefiness of it, but it's really quite scary for a little person.
So you're saying right now, if Ford could beef it up like I like the Chevy and the towing, and we were going to go in and buy the next HD for us or for the channel, you would pick a Ford?
Yes,
All
hands
right.
down. I like the power. I like the seat. I like the interior stuff. I would never tow it, so that's a mute point. But I just think the Ford's better. Sorry, Chevy owners.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And obviously, you drove my last F-150 quite a bit. If we were staying in the half-ton market, you would want to keep this truck.
Yeah, I kind of love this truck. I mean, we drove that last one, the red one, to South Dakota for 9 hours. And honestly, like, the seats were awesome. The extended gas tank was amazing. And because there was no gas stations open at midnight in really small towns in South Dakota. So it really was an awesome truck to road trip in. And I kind of love this one with the hybrid feature and the turbo.
Yeah, actually 2 turbos. We won't tell her that, ladies and gentlemen. All right, guys, so there you have it. She gave her 2 cents of what she thinks about it. And again, guys, you can go out and make whatever decision you might want to make, and you could say, man, Jeremy, I can't believe you let your lady pick. my wife is a great woman. She'll let me pick whatever I want to have to drive. But at the same token, too, I know there is always a possibility that something might happen to me and she needs to drive this thing, or we have to run one somewhere or not. And so I always want to include her into a degree of what we choose and what we pick to have in our family dynamic. And again, even letting the kids kind of pick. The kid loves the back seat in this thing, and it really is fantastic. So she chooses the Ford. What do you think? Don't forget to subscribe, guys, and give me a thumbs up. And if you like her on the channel, let me know. We'll keep her coming. All right. See you on the next one.